In our yesterday's class, we completed that is 13th group elements halides. So in particular, boron trifluoride, BF3, there is a trihalides. Those are all electron deficient compounds. All those accept electron pair, therefore acts as Lewis acids. But BF3 has a back bonding. Because of that, its Lewis acidic nature is very, very less. Therefore, the order of Lewis acidic nature is BF3 less than, BCl3 less than, BBr3 less than, BI3. That is what I told yesterday. No doubt, BF3 has back bonding. Sir, is there any evidence to explain this back bonding? Yes, there are some evidences, boys. So, to the existence of back bonding in BF3 and some other compounds. So, now what are the evidences for this back bonding? See here. So, evidence number 1. See here. So, whenever first evidence end. Whenever a compound has bonds, see here, that is BX3, it is BX3. So only single bonds are exist. That means the bond is considered as a single bond. If there is a dative bond, there should be a double bond character. Because of resonance, already we explained the bond order in BF3 is 1.33, that is 4.38. That means bond order increases means bond length decreases, bond energy increases. So see here, without back bonding, here radius of boron plus radius of fluorine. I am taking fluorine. So the sum of these two radii, that means radius of boron and radius of fluorine, the radius is equal to exactly bond length of this one, bond length of BF or BX. Okay, so this is equal to distance between boron and fluorine. Distance between boron and fluorine. Let this sum is X and this is Y. So no doubt X greater than Y we observed it. In case of BF3. In case of BF3, X greater than Y we observed it. So that means individual radius, sum of the individual radii is greater than that of bond length. Bond length decreases in the molecule. Bond length decreases in the molecule means, so bond order increases means there is a double bond character. There is a resonance concept. That is due to back bonding concept. So see here, X is greater than Y. X is greater than Y. Therefore, X minus Y is equal to, let it be Z value. So if the difference value is very, very high, back bonding character is very, very high. So for BF3, the Z value is 21 picometers. For BCl3, the Z value is 6 or 7 picometers. For BCl3, Z value is 6 or 7. So for BF3, Z value is 21 picometers. There is a large difference. That means bond length. That much value decreased because of increase in resonance concept. So that means, therefore, BF3 has a back bond. So BF3 has a back bonding, and because of that resonance is developed. Because of that resonance, all bond lengths are equal and bond length decreases. That is 4/3, 1.33. Bond length decreases and bond energy increases. Because of this, the difference value is very, very high. That means back bonding in BF3 is much more higher than that of in BCl. So that is back bonding in BF3 is greater than that of BCl3. That is also evidence here. So it is the first evidence, boys. So it is the first evidence. Next, second evidence. What is that second evidence? Let us take a boron halide. If it has a back bonding, it is back bonding, boys. So an electron donating species like Z having a lone pair of electrons. So if this lone pair is donated to this boron, because boron has empty orbital, boys. If empty orbital is free in state, If NP orbital is free, this donation is easy. So this bond formation is easy. So automatically that converts into boron with a Z donating condition, a coordinate covalent bond, and X are possible. X are possible. Guys, please observe. Here the boron is sp3 hybridization. sp3 hybridization. Here boron is sp2 hybridization. That means sp2 hybridized compound is converted into sp3 hybridization. That means hybridization is readjusted. So when if it is bonded here, hybridization is rehybridized. For this rehybridization, there is a lot of energy is required. And also, so during this bond formation, energy is released. So this released energy is utilized by that rehybridization. Guys, see here, during BZ bond formation, energy released. During BZ bond formation, energy released, but for rehybridization, that means conversion of this sp2 to sp3, and also for breaking this back bonds, and to break the back bonding, energy is required. It is absorbed process, it is a released process. So no doubt, here released energy is more than that of this absorbed energy. So finally released is more. Something energy is released. If absorbed is more, the releasing energy is less. If absorbed is less, the releasing energy is more. So in case of BF3, that releasing energy is very, very less. So in case of BF3, energy released is less than. In case of BF3, the energy released is less. That means less energy is released means more energy is absorbed. More energy absorbed means, so to break that back bonding and rehybridization, more and more energy is required. That means there should be back bonding is available. So therefore, so it confirms the presence of back bonding. So this confirms the presence of back bonding, boys. So it is the second evidence. That means energy released in case of BF3 to convert into BF3 with Z molecule, Z atom. So automatically less energy is released. That is the evidence for back bonding. It is second evidence for existence of back bonding. It is the second evidence. It is first, it is second. So altogether combination in case of back bonding BF3. So very less energy is released. That means, so for breaking this back bond and for rehybridization, more energy is absorbed. That is why less energy is released. So no doubt, BF3 has back bond. It is the second evidence. Next, third evidence. All these evidences are required, boys, for our objective purpose. That is third evidence, hydrolysis. See here, for example, BF3 molecule is there. It is a BF3 molecule, boys. So if it is hydrolyzed with water, okay. So this hydrogen with this fluorine is going out, and that OH is attached. So that means this lone pair is attached to this one. Therefore, BFF OH bond is formed with elimination of HF molecules. Okay, for example, if BCl3 is there, if BCl3 is there, same reaction, same possibility. So this HCl is going out. So because of the donation of lone pair, that gives BClClOH plus HCl is going out. HCl is going out. Okay. Now see observation. So this bond formation is a very slow reaction. It is a slow reaction. It is a fast reaction. That means hydrolysis of BF3 is very, very slow. Why, sir? Why this hydrolysis is slow? So because this lone pair donation means there is an availability of empty orbital is required. There is an availability of empty orbital is required. This empty orbital is already filled with this back bonding end. That's why free empty orbital is not there. That is why that donation is difficult. That is why this reaction is slow. But it is fast ending because here back bonding percentage is very, very less. So because of that, this donation is possible. Empty orbital is there. So automatically hydrolysis reaction takes place fastly. So that means this slow reaction, this fast reaction gives the confirmation about the existence of back bonding in BF3 molecule. So this also gives this information also gives about the existence of back bonds in BF3. So this information also gives the information about back bonding. So therefore, no doubt BF3 has back bonding. So because of that, boron has no empty orbital. That is why hydrolysis reaction takes place slowly. Next and most important evidence. So that is fourth evidence and last evidence. That is, so let us observe fourth one. So boys, let us observe BF3. So we have an idea about the back bonding. Here, boron with fluorine bond length is 131 picometers. That means this is 131 picometers, boys. Here the bond length everywhere, because of resonance, the final bond length is 131 picometers. And now, if a base is added, Lewis base, so fluorine has greater tendency to donate that electron pair, boys. So if it is donated to this electron pair here, so that gives a bond, that is boron with the fluorine, a day2 bond formed. So just a minute. With the fluorine day2 bonds, fluorine. So it is rehybridized with the minus N. Okay. So now here boron with the fluorine, the bond order is 141 picometers. 141. Here 131 picometers, here 141 picometers. Bond length increases, boys. Bond length increases means bond order decreases. Bond order decreases means here bond order is more because of presence of this back bonding. So because of resonance, bond order increased. So bond order increased, bond length decreased. That's why low bond length is available. Here that resonance concept is cancelled. So that means back bonding is collapsed, lost. So finally bond length is increased. So that means the bond length is directly proportional to electron donating power of this species and Lewis acid. More is the tendency to donate, so easy to break that back bonding, more is the bond length. See here, bond length of BF bonds is directly proportional to, that is, Lewis basic strength of Lewis basic strength of the base. So more is the more ready to donate, easy to break, automatically that gives more bond length. See here, let us observe one more condition. So for example, in place of F minus, I'm using NaH3N. NaH3. Nitrogen has less tendency to donate this electron pair than that of this one. So now here also boron with ammonia. Fluorine. Boron with ammonia, D2 bonds. With the fluorine, normal bonds are possible, boys. Normal bonds. It is here boron fluorine bond is 138 picometers. It is 138 picometers. Here 141, it is 138. That means electron donating tendency is less than. Next, for example, if nitrogen bonded with 3 alkyl groups, that is 3 methyl groups have electron donating tendency. So because of that, it is something stronger than this one, and it is something faster than this one in the donation cases. So this one gives boron with nitrogen with 3 methyl groups, trimethylamine, and 3 fluorines, Okay, so therefore here 139 is the 139 picometers. So that means, boys, here 131, it is 139. That means back bonding is collapsed. As the electron donating tendency increases, bond length also increases. So electron donating tendency increases, bond length increases. So among all these, this has greatest tendency to donate electron pair, boys. So that's why more is the bond length. Here is the less tendency, less is the bond length. It is a medium tendency. More, there is a medium is the bond length, boys. So all these values, all these conclusions finally gives about the existence of a dative bond in BF3 molecules. So these are the evidences for dative bond for BF3 molecules. So all these are evidences for dative bonds, back bonds in BF3 molecule. Okay. So these are the evidences, boys. So this is very, very, very important. So this is very, very important. So this is about the evidences for back bonding, boys. So this is, so up to today's concept, we completed some of the compounds about general compounds of our 13th group elements. So general compounds are completed. Now, so dative bond and coordinate covalent bond are both are same. And dative bond, coordinate covalent bond, both are same. Coordinate covalent bond also called as dative bond. Okay. Now, what is the? So every group first element generally behaves differently from rest of the elements, boys. That is called as anomalous behavior. Here also first element boron behaves differently. So that way, next topic is anomalous behavior. And also diagonal relationship of this boron with next group second element, that is with silicon. So now coming out two topics are, first one anomalous behavior of boron, and the second one is diagonal relationship of boron with silicon. So next subheading, boys, next subheading, diagonal, that is anomalous behavior of boron. Anomalous behavior of boron. Now, next topic, that is anomalous properties of boron. why first element behaves differently from rest of the elements in the group? Why first element behaves rest of the elements differently with respect to rest of the elements? Because of number of reasons. Yes, all we know. And first one, what is the reason? The reason for this one is first one, small size. Second one, high charge density. Third one, high electronegativity. High electronegativity. Fourth one, contains only 2 electrons in penultimate shell. And contains no d orbitals in the outermost orbital. So contains no orbitals in the outermost orbit. Based on these reasons, boron behaves differently from rest of the elements. So some of the examples that different behavior. See here, first one, boys, all we know, boron is non-metal, but rest of the elements are metal. So it is the first different behavior. So now, see here, first one, that is boron is a non-metal element, but others are metals. It is the first deviation. Next point, boron not gives free B+3 ion, but others can. That means free boron +3 ion not existent, but Al+3 free ion in solutions are existent. So free B- ion +3 is not existent. Only oxygen state exists, but not ionic. Okay. Next, we must follow NCERT book, my dear boy. Next point, that is, so boron compounds are covalent. All boron compounds are covalent, but others may form ionic compounds. Also, along with covalent compounds, ionic compounds are also formed by other elements, but all boron compounds are covalent. So it is a different behavior. Next point, that is maximum coordination number of boron is equal to 4, but for others is equal to 6. It is the absence of d orbitals in boron. Because of absence of d orbitals in boron, the maximum covalency or maximum coordination number of boron in its complexes is 4, but others is 6. Already we find out number of examples. Example, Bf4- ion exists. Al F6 3- ions are exist. So here boron coordination number 4, here aluminum coordination number 6. So that means, so it is also another deviation point. Next, boron never exhibits inert pair effect. Boron never exhibit inert pair effect, but others may affected with this effect. So boron never form inert pair effect, never gives. Next, boron plus non-oxidizing acids, no reaction, like HCl. Already this point we covered. Like HCl, boron not reacts with non-oxidizing acids, but aluminum and others may react with this one. So, but others can react. It is also one of the anomalous properties. Okay. Next, yes, Next point. Boron is non-metal. Boron is non-metal and hence a bad conductor of electricity. So boron, it is a non-metal but a bad conductor of electricity. But aluminum is a metal. It is the second best conductivity tendency. Because of that, aluminum cable wires are used for electricity transportation. So therefore, but others are good conductors. But others are good conductors. Okay, it is very, very important. Next, boron has allotropes. Boron has allotropes. Allotropes means existence of a molecule as an element in two or more physical forms but chemically identical. Boron has crystalline allotropes, amorphous allotropes are available. But others have no allotropy. But others have no allotropy. But others have no allotropy. It is also important point, boys. So no allotropy. Next, boron hydrides are non-polymeric. Boron hydrides are non-polymeric. B2S6 are all almost. Those are all non-polymeric. But other hydrides, hydrides, monohydrides are polymeric. Other hydrides are polymeric. But other hydrides are polymeric in nature. Polymeric hydrides. Okay. Next one. Next one. Boron halides. 10th one. Boron halides are all monomers. That means the single units are exist. But others are polymeric. But other halides may form dimers, etc. But others halides, AlCl3, dimeric state. Like that, dimeric states are possible in other cases, but boron halides are only exist in a single unit monomeric condition. Next, 11th one, that is BF3, boron trifluoride is a covalent end, but others halides are ionic. But others halides are ionic. Very, very important. Others halides are ionic. So all these points, boys, so explains the behavior of, yes, B2Cl3 not existent. So explains the behavior of, the anomalous behavior of boron. Anomalous behavior of boron. So specially explains the anomalous behavior of boron. Okay. So this is about anomalous properties. Boys, so is BF3 exists as dimer? Anomalous means different behavior. Is BF3 exists as a dimer? Tell me your answer. Is BF3 exists as a dimer? My question is that one. My question is, boys, is BF3 exists as a dimer? Answer is no only. Our answer is no, boys. No Yes, yes. That means no dimeric state is exist because of back bonding. So BF3 ra. So boron with fluorine, a back bond is possible. That means empty orbitals are not exist in boron. Empty orbital in boron is not exist because of back bonding. Yes. So due to back bonding. Sir, how a dimer is exist? For example, AlCl3. AlCl3. When it is a dimer exists, see here, it is Cl3. Aluminum has empty orbital voice. Another aluminum empty orbital is there. So this aluminum also have empty orbital. This donates electron pair to this. This donate electron pair to this. So that means no here empty orbital is there. That's a so coordinate covalent bonds, dative bonds are possible from fluorine atoms. So that's why dimer state is possible. That type of empty orbital in boron is not exist. The type of empty orbital in boron is not exist due to this back bonding. Therefore, dimer formation of this BF3 is not exist. Dimer formation of this BF3 is not exist. So this is about anomalous behavior and non-existence of dimer case in case of BF3 molecule wise. So now another topic, that is diagonal relationship of this boron with silicon. That means similarities between boron and silicon. Similarities between boron and silicon. So next subheading. Next subheading, diagonal relationship of boron with silicon. Diagonal relationship of boron with silicon. So why, sir? Why boron and silicon? So have similarities, no doubt, almost same size. The reason for this, almost same size, and also same polarizing power. So polarizing power and sizes are same. Therefore, those two have similarities in their behavior. So some of the examples, similarities, boys. That is first point. Both are non-metals. Both boron and silicon are non-metals. First point. Both are non-metals. Both are non-metals. Next, both can exhibit allotropy. Both can exhibit allotropy. So both exhibited. Next, third point. Okay. Next, both have almost same electronegativity. So that is electronegativity of boron is equal to 2 and for silicon is 1.8. So both have almost same electronegativity. Next point, both have almost same ionization enthalpies. Both have same ionization enthalpy, nearly same ionization enthalpy set. Okay. Next point. So both oxides, B2O3 acidic oxides and SiO2 also acidic oxide. That means both oxides of boron and silicon are acidic in nature, acidic oxides. Next, because these are acidic oxides, so both these oxides react with metals. So both these oxides reacts with metals. See here, B2O3 when reacts with magnesium metal like that, that is a boron plus MgO is the productant, 3Mg, 3Mg1. So 2. Similarly, SiO2 when reacts with magnesium, so that gives Si plus, so 2Mg1. So boron and silicon are coming out. So both these reacts with metals and both boron and silicon oxides reacts with metals like magnesium and reduced. So, and reduced. Those are reduced with metal oxide, metals. Those both are reduced with metals. Next, carbides. B4C is a hard material, hard carbides of boron. Similarly, silicon carbide, SiC, also hard carbide of silicon. So both the carbides of boron and silicon are very, very hardened. So very, very important. Both carbides are very hardened. Next property, that is, so both elements reacts with halogen. So boron with halogen gives BH3 type compounds. Silicon with halogen, SiX4 is the component. So both these reacts with water and hydrolyzed. So that means both boron and silicon directly reacts with halogen, gives respective halides, and these halides are hydrolyzed. So very, very important. Okay. Next point. Boron with hydrogen compounds are called as boride. There is boron hydrides. So that is 9th point. Hydrides of boron are called as boranes. So hydrides of silicon are called as silanes. So hydrides of boron, that is B2S6 like that. So boron hydrides are called as boranes. Silicon with hydrogen compounds are called as silanes. So all those are covalent hydrides. These hydrides are nothing but covalent hydrides, and both boranes and silanes are covalent hydrides. Okay. Next, both boron and silicon not reacts with HCl like non-oxidizing acids. So both these are not reacts with HCl like non-oxidizing acids. Next, both boron and silicon reacts with alkali and liberates hydrogen gas. Both boron and silicon reacts with alkali and liberates hydrogen gas. That is, see here. So when boron reacts with NaOH, gives Na2BO3. Just Na3BO3 and sodium borate plus hydrogen gas. Similarly, when silicon reacts with NaOH in the presence of water, aqueous solution, that gives Na2SiO3 plus hydrogen gas is liberated. So both cases hydrogen gas is liberated. So it is a sodium borate, it is a sodium silicate. So sodium borate and sodium silicate compounds are formed. Both liberate hydrogen gas with alkalis. Next and last point, that is, both boron and silicon reacts with non-metals. So reacts with metals. Because these are non-metals. So non-metals reacts with metals. So as these are non-metals, These are non-metals. As these are non-metals, both reacts with metals. See here. So when magnesium reacts with boron, that gives Mg3B2. Magnesium boride is the product. Similarly, when magnesium reacts with silicon, that gives Mg2Si. It is magnesium silicide is the product. So that means both these reacts with metals like magnesium. So these are all similarities between boron and silicon. These are all properties, diagonal relationship properties of boron and silicon. So please keep in mind. So everyone is very, very important. So this is about anomalous behavior of boron and it's a diagonal relationship with silicon and similarities between boron and silicon. Okay, so general properties are covered, boys. General concepts are covered in 13th group elements. Now we are entering into the specific compounds. Boron, about boron and its compounds. Boron and its compounds, and aluminum and its compounds are further topics. So before going to concepts, going into the concepts, let us observe what are the ores of boron and what are the ores of silicon. These are very, very important in objective side. So please note down. Next topic. No difference, no need of differences, boys. Uday, no need of differences. So only we are observing the similarities. Number of differences are also there, but we are observing only similarities. So because of diagonal relationship. Okay. Next subheading, boys. Ores of boron and aluminum. Yes, ores of boron and aluminum. Next subheading, ores of boron and aluminum. Now I am writing ores of boron, boys. Please try to by heart these ores. Please try to by heart. All these are important. First one, boric acid. Formula H3BO3. Boric acid, one of the most important ores of boron. Boric acid, H3BO3. Next, second one, borax or tincal. Tincal, that is Na2B4O7 10H2O. Na2B4O7 10H2O. Boys, so impure borax is simply called as a tincal, and impure borax is called as a tincal. So its formula Na2B4O7 10H2O. Next, kernite or rosorite. Kernite or rosorite, that is Na2B4O7 4H2O. Na2B4O7 4H2O. Next, calamanite. Number of times asked bit, boys. Calamanite. Okay, that is Ca2B6O11 5H2O. Ca2B6O11 5H2O. Calamanite. Next, so penderenite. PANDERENITE. Penderenite. Ca2B6O11 3H2O. Penderenite. And borosite, last one. Borosite, CIT. Formula 2Mg3BH O15 MgCl2. MgCl2. So borosite, among all these, boric acid, borax, and calamanite, these are the most important ores. These three are most important. Those are considered as the chief force of boron. Chief force of boron. Very, very, very important. Very, very, very important. So this is also we read it as BOH thrice. BOH thrice. Okay. So this is about force of boron. Now let us observe force of aluminum. Force of aluminum. Force of aluminum. Boys. So for easy to remember, I'm trying to explain. See here. C, D, B, G. Please follow this sequence. C, D, B, G. C means corundum. DAM. Corundum. D means diaspar. DIA. Diaspar. SPER. Bauxite. BAUXIT. G. Gibbsite. SIT. Corundum, diaspar, bauxite, gibbsite. All these are oxide ores of aluminum. So see here, it is Al2O3. It is also contains Al2O3. It is Al2O3. It is Al2O3. So boys, it is without water. It is Al2O3 H2O. It is Al2O3 2H2O. It is 3HO. For this sequence, I am writing like that. CDBG, corundum, diaspar, bauxite, gibbsite. So all these are, see here, no water molecule. It is anhydride oxide ore of aluminum. Anhydride without water molecules are there. Okay. So next, these are all hydrated oxide ores. These are all hydrated oxide ores of aluminum. So all these contains water. See here, Al2O3, monohydrate, dihydrate, trihydrate. So among all these, the chief ore of aluminum is bauxite. Bauxite is the chief ore of aluminum. So from that, we can extract aluminum, boys. This bauxite is frequently available in our Telugu states also. So amount, that is next, others, that is cryolite. Cryolite, that is Na3AlF6, or this one rewrite it as 3NaFAlF3N. 3NaFAlF3. Here aluminum is in contact with fluorine. It is a fluoride ore. It is a fluoride ore of aluminum. It is fluoride ore of aluminum. Sandeep, please wait at last. Fluoride ore of aluminum. Na3AlF6, or simply called as 3NaFAlF3. Anush, please wait. Next, alunite. Alunite, or this is also called as alum stone. Alunite or alum stone. Okay, what is its formula? K2SO4, Al2SO4 thrice, Al2SO4 thrice, 4 AlOH thrice. Here aluminum is in contact with sulfate, so that's why it is sulfate ore. It is sulfate ore. Sulfate ore of aluminum is alunite or alum stone. Alunite or alum stone. Next, turquoise. TORQUOISE. Turquoise. So its formula AlPO4 aluminum phosphate, AlOH thrice, and 2H2. Boys, frequently here aluminum with phosphate, right? It is phosphate ore. Phosphate ore of aluminum. Phosphate ore of aluminum. Next, feldspar. It is also important. Feldspar. It is important. Right? So what is its formula? So that is K2O, Al2O3, 6 SiO2, which is silicate ore. Silicate ore. Al2O3 SiO2 combination gives silicates, and that's why it is called as silicate ore. Next, kaolin, last one. KEOLINE, kaolin. It is Al2O3, 2 SiO2, 2 H2O. It is also silicate ore, boys. So these two are silicate ores. So these are all important ores of aluminum. Among all these, the chief ore of aluminum is bauxite. We can extract that aluminum from bauxite. Okay, and also important is cryolite. Please keep in mind, and feldspar. These are very, very, very important. Bauxite, cryolite, feldspar. Bauxite, cryolite, feldspar. These are the important ores of aluminum. These are the important ores. Okay, so this is about ores of aluminum. Ores of aluminum. Okay, so ores of boron and aluminum. Yes, 70% available and in bauxite. That is correct, Sriram. Okay, so this is about ores. Now we are entering into the compounds of boron and its compounds. So boron, about boron and compounds. Next subheading, boron and its compounds. Boron and its compounds. Title, boron and its compounds. Boron and its compounds. So here we are discussing about boron. First of all, boron preparation, boron allotropes, boron properties, and then compounds of boron. Compounds of boron. Among that, first one, boron B2O3. Next, boron nitride, metaborate, boric acid, borax. Number of compounds are there, boys. So now we are discussing some of the compounds. So first of all, subheading boron. First about boron. So first concept about boron. What about this boron? So boron, already in our properties, that is anomalous properties, boron exhibit allotropy. So no doubt, boron has allotropes. Boron has two types of allotropes. One is the crystalline allotrope, and the other one is that is amorphous allotrope. See here. So boron has two types of allotropes. Boron has two types of allotropes. One is amorphous boron, and the other one is crystalline boron. It is amorphous boron, and second one is crystalline boron. So when these two are exist, boys, so that is at less than 1000 degrees centigrade, amorphous boron exists. At less than 20,000 degrees centigrade, amorphous boron. So greater than 1000, that is 1000 to 4000 degrees centigrade, crystalline boron exists. 1000 to 4000 degrees centigrade, crystalline boron exists. Okay, so here the important point is 95 to 98%. 95 to 98% pure amorphous boron is called as Moissan boron. Number of times asked point, boys. 95 to 98% pure amorphous boron is called as Moissan boron. Please keep in mind. So it is almost purified, almost purified. So generally used in resistors, something else in electronic devices. So this Moissan boron is used. Okay. So amorphous boron. Now Preparation of this boron. How to prepare? From ores of boron, this boron is prepared, boys, so under two steps. So whatever it may be the ore, first of all you collect B2O3, boron trioxide. After preparing that B2O3, so remove that oxygen, you will get boron. So that means first one, preparation of B2O3, and then removal of oxygen, that is called as reduction of B2O3. So that means from ores, boron is extracted under two steps. So say now preparation methods. Preparation of boron. So under two stages it is possible. Under two stages. One is preparation of B2O3, its oxides, and the second one is remove this oxygen, you will get boron. Removal of oxygen from the substance is called as reduction. Therefore, second stage is reduction of B2O3. Reduction of B2O3. So preparation of B2O3, reduction of B2O3. Finally, we will get boron. Finally, we will get boron. Now, first stage, I am explaining to prepare how to prepare this B2O3. So that is stage 1. First one, dantlo. So from where this B2O3 we will prepare it. How to prepare this B2O3. So from the ores, the most important ore of boron is, so that is bauxite, sorry, not bauxite, it is, what is that? H3BO3, boric acid. From boric acid we can prepare calamanite. That from calamanite this is B2O3 can be prepared. And also bauxite, sorry, not bauxite, it is borax. Yes, thank you, boy. Satvik. Borax. From borax also it can be prepared. Now I am starting with borax. From borax. What is borax? The formula for borax is Na2 B4O7 10H2. So anhydrous form I am considering Na2 B4O7. It is borax. If this borax is treated with concentrated HCl or concentrated H2SO4, whatever it may be the acid, concentrated HCl or concentrated H2SO4, that gives H2 B4O7 tetraboric acid, H2 B4O7 plus this Na with this HCl gives, that is 2 NaCl or Na2SO4 is the productant. So it is 2 times. 2 NaCl, 2 Na2SO4 is the productant. So this is tetraboric acid. Now this tetraboric acid, that is H2B4O7, is hydrolyzed, gives 4H3BO3. Orthoboric acid. Now this orthoboric acid, H3BO3, is on strong heating up to red hot heating, gives B2O3. So this is the way to prepare B2O3, boys. So our target, first of all, preparation of B2O3. So now borax is first of all converts into tetraboric acid. Tetraboric acid then converts into orthoboric acid. Orthoboric acid on heating gives B2O3. So finally we got B2O3. It is, please keep in mind. So this is the first way to prepare B2O3. Next, another one. So another way to prepare this B2O3. So by starting with calamanite. So if calamanite is the starting material, that is Ca2 B6O11. If calamanite, it is calamanite. It is calamanite. So this calamanite treated with Na2CO3, sodium carbonate, which is a solid form, solid sodium carbonate, under fusion, that gives 2 moles CaCO3, which is precipitated out. insoluble form, plus Na2B4O7, Na2B4O7 borax plus 2NaBO2, sodium metaborate. So sodium metaborate. That formed sodium metaborate also converts into, is also converts into borax, that is by the passage of CO2, gives Na2B4O7, Na2B4O7 plus Na2CO3. This Na2CO3 is reused here, Na2CO3. So now Na2B4O7 and here also Na, all together Na2 sodium metaborate is formed. That is nothing but borax. From borax, it is a way to prepare B2O3. Finally, by using Na2B4O7, we will get B2O3 like this. Okay. So here borax is formed. From borax, we can prepare B2O3 like this. Okay. Next case. Next, third way. Another way from carbonate. So third way to prepare B2O3. So calamanite, Ca2B6O11, calamanite I am taking. This one treated with SO2 gas. Instead of CO2, it is here we are using SO2 gas plus 4H2O. The product is calcium bisulfite plus H4B6O11, acid component. Now that formed H4B6O11 reacts dissolved in water 7H2O gives so 6H3BO3. So orthoboric acid. Altogether, sum of these two equations, add these two equations, boys. So this one and this one is cancelled. That means it is the intermediate compound. Now Ca2B6O11 plus 4SO2 plus 4 plus 7, 11 water molecules gives 6H3BO3 plus CaHSO3 twice. So here H3BO3 is the product twice. So this H3BO3 on strong heating, red hot heating gives B2O3. Okay. So finally, water it may be the starting material. So finally we have B2O3. So it is the first stage. So everywhere B2O3 is collected. Finally, now we have B2O3. Now how to prepare? How to remove the oxygen from that B2O3? Already we know already. So B2O3, it is an acidic oxide. It reacts with active metals like magnesium. Already that reaction we completed, boys. So with the help of that magnesium, we can remove the oxygen from B2O3. Now stage 2. Second stage. That is stage 2. That is conversion of B2O3 to B boron. That is reduction of B2O3. Reduction of B2O3. Okay, how is this possible? See here, when B2O3 reacts with magnesium like active metals, that gives 2B plus 3 Mg boron. So this is 95% pure boron. It is Moissan boron. It is the way to prepare Moissan boron. Now, instead of magnesium, we can also use sodium. So that is boron plus Na2O is the product. Here also Moissan boron. Boys, in every step, boron is formed. That boron is Moissan boron. So instead of sodium, we may also use potassium. So boron plus K2O is the product. So instead of potassium, may also use aluminum. Aluminum may also use. That is boron plus Al2O3. These are all active metals, boys. All these are active metals. Instead of aluminum, zinc is used. So boron plus ZnO is the product. Boron plus ZnO. All these boron are Moissan boron. All these are Moissan boron. So all these metals are active metals. So that means when B2O3 reacts with active metals like this, so gives respect to boron, which is 95% pure, that is called as Moissan boron. It is amorphous boron. It is a way to prepare amorphous boron. It is the way to prepare amorphous boron. Now, how to prepare crystalline borons? How to prepare crystalline boron? See here. Preparation of crystalline boron. Preparation of crystalline boron. So from halides, when boron trichloride is strongly reduced with hydrogen gas, that gives boron, which is crystalline form. Which is crystalline form, that is with HCl. A crystalline boron is formed. Similarly, when boron triiodide is on pyrolysis, pyrolysis means a strong heating, is on pyrolysis, that gives boron plus I2. So this is crystalline boron. These two are crystalline borons, boys. So this is the way to prepare crystalline borons. So that is from BCl3 or BiPl. So this is the way to prepare boron, boys. Boron. Yes. 100 to maybe 100 to 400. Yes. Heating. Okay. So crystalline forming. Very, very high. So now, what are the properties of boron? Boron is a non-metal. Bad conductor of electricity. Already we know. So some of the reactions. So that is uses of boron. Most of the boron reactions are completed, boys, at the time of general properties. So that's why no other reactions uses it. Boron. First one, boron carbide. Boron carbide is used as abrasive. Abrasive means because boron carbide is a hard material, so it is used to cut another hard materials. So that is used as abrasive. So I don't know. We don't know, boys. Kartikeya. So something purity may be available. We don't know. There is no information is available in our books. Okay. So it is used as abrasive, and also used in nuclear reactors as controlling rods. So to control the speed of the neutrons and something else, so controlling rods, so that is boron carbide is used. So that boron carbide, when boron reacts with carbon, gives B4 So that is the way boron is very, very helpful. And boron is very, very helpful. So this is about boron, boys. Now compounds of boron. So next, second one. So that is, yes. Next, second one, that is next compound, boron trioxide. That is boron trioxide. That is B2O3. Boron trioxide. B2O3. Harshit, please wait. At last we will discuss. At last we will discuss. Okay. So B2O3, boron trioxide. Already, so at the time of boron preparation, stage 1, we prepare B2O3 from borax, calaminites. Okay. So B2O3 is prepared. That is from H3BO3 by strong heating. So that B2O3 is prepared. That is the general way to prepare B2O3, boys. So some of the laboratory preparation methods. So those are industrial preparations. Now it is laboratory preparations. Laboratory preparations. That is preparations. When boron is direct reacts with oxygen gives B2O3. So direct reaction of boron with oxygen. So also gives B2O3. It is one of the preparation methods. Next, when H3BO3, boric acid, is on strong heating, gives first of all HBO2, it is metaboric acid. It is metaboric acid. It is still on heating, gives B2O3, so boric anhydride. Boric anhydride, that is B2O3 preparation, boys. So this is the way to prepare B2O3. So not only this, already we prepared from, that is borax or calaminite in previous reactions. So that is also, that is the industrial way to prepare B2O3. That is the industrial way. Okay. So now, what are the properties of this B2O3? Properties. Properties. First one, it is a white crystalline solid. It is a white crystalline solid. Next, B2O3, non-metallic oxide. So it has acidic nature. It is an acidic oxide. It is an acidic oxide. Okay, because it is acidic oxide, reacts with basic oxides. Reacts with basic oxides. That is because it is non-metal oxide, reacts with metal oxides also. So some of the reactions, boys. That is when B2O3 dissolved in water, first of all, backward reaction, the HBO2 is formed. So less amount, partial hydrolysis. So if it is completely hydrolyzed, that gives H3BO3 is the product. First one is partial hydrolysis, second one is complete hydrolysis. So H3BO3 is the product. 2H3BO3. Next. So because it is a non-metal oxide, reacts with metal oxides. So that is when B2O3 reacts with Na2O, that gives NaBO2, sodium metaborate. So sodium metaborate is the product. When it reacts with cobalt oxide, these reactions completed, boys. Cobalt oxide, that gives COBO2 twice. Cobalt metaborate. When it reacts with copper oxide, CuO, CuBO2 twice. CuBO2 twice. Okay. So these are metal borates. Borate, that is metaborates. These are metaborates. Sodium metaborate, cobalt metaborate, copper metaborate, boys. So these two are transition metals. Cobalt, copper, these two are transition metals, transition metal borates. Yes, transition metal borates, metal metaborates, transition metal metaborates. So having colors. So these are nothing but colored beads. So these are colored beads. So these are used in borax bead testing. It is used in borax bead. It is the basic equation. for borax bead test for identification of transition metals only, not other than transition metals. It is not applicable for us. So transition metal borates, transition metal metaborates are colored in nature. So those are colored beads. With the help of those colored beads, we can identify the transition metal ions present in the given solvent. So that is borax bead test. Borax bead test. Later we will discuss any borax bead test. Okay. So that means, so this test is used to identify transition metal ions. Transition metal ion present in given salts. So transition metal ion present in given salts. So this borax bead test is used depending on the color of the beads. Depending on the color of the beads. So it is borax bead tested. Okay. So this is about some of the preparation methods and its physical nature and chemical nature. Yes. Use it. Yes, reflux. Boys, here I am covering most of the important points, but not all. So you should use your textbooks, your NCERT books, or Ramarao sir books for entire information. I am using most important applications, most important reactions, most important chemical. So because our chemistry is a lot of chemistry, lot of reactions are there. All those reactions here, it is not possible to write or to explain everything. So that's why I'm considering most important reactions. Please consider this point. Am I correct or not? Yes, I am correct, and no doubt. It is not possible to explain each and every reaction in 1 weekend. So please try to follow your textbooks. Please try to follow your textbooks. Okay. So myself, I am using most important reactions. Most valuable reactions I am explaining here. Okay. So thanks. Next subheading, next compound was boric acid. Boric acid. So now we are commonly taken as orthoboric acid. Orthoboric acid, boric acid, both are same boys. It's a formula H3BO3. H3BO3. Okay. Now, how to prepare? Already from calamanite, from magnesite, that is the borax, we can already prepare boys at the time of B2O3 preparation. Those reactions once again here reused. So see here, first one, preparation from borax. From borax, same reactions repeated boys. That is Na2B4O7. So when it reacts with either concentrated HCl or concentrated H2SO4, that gives H2B4O7 plus 2 NaCl or Na2SO4. Same reactions boys. That formed tetraboric acid, that is H2B4O7, and dissolved in water. When dissolved in water, that gives 4H3BO3. It is the way to prepare boric acid. It is the way to prepare boric acid. It is from borax. Similarly, second one, from calamanite. So that is SO2 reaction. That is the third reaction. Third reaction, that is when Ca2B6O11, calamanite. B6O11 plus H2O plus SO2 gas is passed 4SO2, that gives 2, it is 11 water molecules, 4SO2 gives 2 CaHSO3 twice plus 6H3BO3. So this is the way to prepare H3BO3, boys. So mechanism on two-step reaction already we covered. So that reaction here is also used. So finally H3BO3 is prepared like this. So these are the most important preparation methods of boric acid. Now, what are the properties of? Yes, powdered form. Now, what are the properties of this boric acid? See here. Properties. That is, first one, it is white crystalline form. Crystalline solid form. It is a white crystalline solid. So generally, our paste powders are used in. Our paste powders, so powdered form is used in. Okay. Now, second point, moderately soluble in cold water, but highly soluble in hot water. Very, very, very important point. Okay. So now another important property, heating and action of heat. What are the different products formed when H3BO3 is heated strongly? So coming out point is very, very, very important, and that is action of heat. Next point, when H3BO3 orthoboric acid, it is orthoboric acid, is heated strongly up to 100 degrees centigrade. Temperatures are important. Please keep in mind. So that gives HBO2, metaboric acid. First of all, that gives metaboric acid. If it is still heated, yes, loss of water and minus H2. So dehydration takes place. Okay. If it is still heated, so some more water molecules are coming out. That is up to 160 degrees centigrade. So still water molecules are lost. Boys, HBO2, another HBO2. So minus H2O. So HHO. So that gives B2O3. That gives B2O3. So strong heated up to. So I'm explaining with diagrams, boys, in our next compound. That gives H2B4O7. H2B4O7. It is a tetraboric acid. H2B4O7. Tetraboric acid. That tetraboric acid is heated up to red hot condition. Red hot heating. Once again, water molecules lost. That gives a B2O3 is the final. So all these are very, very important. Up to 100 degrees centigrade, metaboric acid. Up to 160 degrees centigrade, tetraboric acid. So after that, after greater than 160 degrees centigrade, a red hot condition, that is B2O3 is formed. Yes, greater than 160 and more than 160 degrees. More than 160. So Thoyas, please wait. So more than 160 degrees centigrade, that is B2O3 is the product, and every temperature and product is very, very important. Temperature and product is very, very, very important. Okay. So now, and next property. This orthoboric acid or borate ion, whatever it may be. So see here, when orthoboric acid reacts with ethyl alcohol, C2H5OH. When orthoboric acid reacts with ethyl alcohol. Okay. So 3 moles ethyl alcohol involved in the reaction. That gives, see here. So these 3 hydrogens, these 3 OHs are going out, boys. That gives BOC2H5 thrice. BOC2H5 thrice, which is called as ethyl borate. Vapors are released. So these ethyl borate vapors are released. Okay. So ethyl borate vapors. So these are born. These are born with green edge flame in Bunsen flame. Boys, so ethyl borate vapors, so plus 3H2O, loss of water molecules. So very important. So when ethyl alcohol reacts with borate ion, that gives ethyl borate vapors are released. So these vapors are collected in another test tube and burned in what is that? Bunsen flame. So that the color of the flame is green edge, green color, green edge. At the edge, green colors we observe. That's which is called as green edge flame is observed. Green edge flame is observed. Okay. So it is the test for. So it is the test for borate ion in qualitative analysis. It is a test for borate ion in qualitative analysis, a very important in it. So ethyl borate vapors are released. These ethyl borate vapors are burned in green edge flame. So it is a test for any borate ion. Next. Yes, maybe no. It is not neutralization reaction. It is acid plus alcohol reaction. It is not neutralization reaction. Acid plus alcohol. Okay. Next one. Esterification. Maybe esterification reaction. We will consider acid plus alcohol gives ester any esterification reaction. Next one. That is, boys, all our boric acids are exist in 4 different ways. So all these different acids, see here. Next point, fifth point. That is, so we have different acids. What are those? Orthoboric acid. See here, orthoboric acid. Orthoboric acid. This orthoboric acid formula H3BO3. This is we represented as B2O3 3H2O. B2O3 3H2O combination gives 2H3BO3. So therefore H3BO3 is also represented like this side. Next, metaboric acid. Metaboric acid is HBO2 and HBO2. So this is represented like B2O3H2O. B2O3H2O. So that is a 2HBO2. So this 2HBO2 is represented like this side. So next, that is a tetraboric acid. That is H2. So tetraboric acid H2B4O7. So tetraboric acid, it is represented as 2B2O3 H2O. 2B2O3 H2O. That is a tetraboric acid. Next, one more is there, pyroboric acid. These are the different boric acids. Pyroboric acid. So it is H6B4O9. So that is 2B2O3 3H2O. 2B2O3 3H2O. Okay. So all these are, boys, all these acids are the hydrated forms of B2O3. Hydrated forms of B2O3. All these oxo acids are the hydrated. All these are, no doubt, all these oxo acids are hydrated forms of B2O3. All these oxy acids are hydrated forms of B2O3. So B2O3 with different combinations of water. Next, all these are solids. All these are solids. All these are solid compounds. Okay, so very, very important, boys. Next point, H3BO3 orthoboric acid is a weak monobasic acid. Already yesterday we covered, boys. So H3BO3 is a weak monobasic acid. That means basicity is equal to 1. Next one, not a Bronsted acid. That is no donation of proton, not a proton donor. Next, Lewis acid. It is a Lewis acid, electron pair acceptor. So these are the conditions, boys. Now, when BOH thrice dissolved in water, that converts into BOH 4 times minus plus H plus is coming out. When orthoboric acid dissolved in water, H plus is coming out. But this H plus from water end. This H plus is coming out from water, not from H plus end, not from BOH thrice. So that H plus is from water end. So all these points we covered yesterday. All these points we covered yesterday. Next point. The strength of H3BO3. The strength of, just a minute, boys. The acidic strength of H3BO3 orthoboric acid is increased. The acidic strength of orthoboric acid increased in the presence of polyhydroxy compounds. Like polyhydroxy compounds means more than one OH group. The compound having more than one OH group in our organic chemistry, those are called as a polyhydroxy compounds, like that is ethylene glycol, formula CH2OH, CH2OH. It is ethylene glycol. So two OH groups are there. That is a dihydroxy compound, polyhydroxy compound, ethylene glycol. Next, mannitol, sorbitol, that is glucose. Next, mannose, not mannose, mannose. Like this, all these are polyhydroxy compounds, boys. So these can increase the acidic strength of H3BO3. How, sir? Let us observe the reaction. So these can increase the acidic strength of H3BO3. Okay. Now see here how this ethylene glycol, boys. So that is a boric acid. BOH, OH, OHN. So boron has empty orbital. This one reacts with ethylene glycol. Ethylene glycol. One more ethylene glycol. So see here. So OH and H, H2O is lost. OH and H, H2O lost. OH and H, H2O lost. So there it is an oxygen. This electron pair is donated to this one. That gives electron pair donation. That gives boron with oxygen, CH2, CH2 with oxygen like this. CH2, CH2, so O. This is a coordinate covalent bonds. So plus H plus is coming out from this. So that H plus and one of these water molecules gives H3O plus ion plus 2H2 are the products twice. That means a cyclic complex compound is formed. A cyclic complex compound is formed. So because of that, H plus is quickly out. So that means acidic strength increases. Acidic strength increases. Okay. So like this. So next, salicylic acid also. Salicylic acid. What is the salicylic acid? That is when benzene connected with COOH and OHN also increases acidic strength. Like this end, also increases acidic strength. Next, only cis diols. Only cis diols can increase acidic strength. It is very, very important, boys. Only cis diols can increase acidic strength of H3BO3. Only cis diols can increase acidic strength of H3BO3. Cis means similar groups on same side, only same side, boys. So see here, two OHs on same side, two OHs are on same side. So same side compounds are only increases the acidic strength. If two OH groups are in opposite, this reaction is not possible. So but not trans compounds. So but not trans compounds. Trans means similar groups are opposite sided. So that's why only cis compounds, cis diols can increase the acidic strength. Only cis compounds can increase the acidic strength, boys. So it is also very, very important point. Cis diols only increases the acidic strength. Next one. What is the structure of this boric acid? Next subheading, dantlo structure of boric acid. Structure of H3BO3. Boys, for our convenience, H3BO3 I am writing like this. See here, BOH, BOH, BOH. So this is H3BO3. Okay. So in short, I am writing like this: boron, oxygen, oxygen, oxygen. This is the shortcut way to represent this boric acid, boys, for drawing the entire structure of boric acid. So it is shortcut way. Okay. So here boron, in boric acid, boron is in sp2 hybridization. In orthoboric acid, the central atom boron is in sp2 hybridization. So because of sp2 hybridization, trigonal planar shaped with 120 degrees bond angle. 120 degrees bond angle available. Next, it has sheet-like structure. I am drawing, please wait. It has a sheet-like structure. How, sir? See here. So what is the hybridization of boron in H3BO3? That is sp2 hybridization, planar structure, layer-like structure. So that is, see here. I am trying to draw the structure. This is Try to draw along with me, and otherwise a little difficult. A little difficult. So these are 6 borate, that is H3BO3 molecules, boys. Everywhere. Here this hydrogen is like here. Here this hydrogen is like this. Here this is the hydrogen. Okay. Next. Here the hydrogen is this side. Here the hydrogen is this side. Here the hydrogen is this side. Okay. Next. Here the hydrogen is this side. Here the hydrogen is this side. Here the hydrogen is this side. Next. Here the hydrogen is this side. Here the hydrogen is this side. And like this one. Next. Here the hydrogen is this side. So here this side. Here this side. Next. Here the hydrogen is this side. Here this side. Here this side. So these are all H3BO3 molecules, boys. These are all H3BO3 molecules available on your board plane. Now, between these molecules, there exists hydrogen bonding center. So between these molecules, there exists hydrogen bonds. So hydrogen connected with oxygen. So more electron elements. So there is hydrogen bonding. Between these two, hydrogen bonding. So these two hydrogen bonding. These two. These red dotted lines are hydrogen bonding. So like this, hydrogen bonds are possible. Like this, hydrogen bonds. So see, boys. So this hydrogen may connected with other molecules with hydrogen bonds. With hydrogen bonds. Okay. Next, this one also. So this one also bonded with other one. This one also bonded with other one. That's why everywhere hydrogen bonds are possible. So these are with others. So all these red dots are hydrogen bonds. All these red dots are hydrogen bonds. So this is like sheet-like structure. So first point, it is a sheet-like structure. Next point, sheet means layers and layers, layer-like structure. So between layers, there exists weak van der Waals forces. Between layer and layer, weak van der Waals forces are there. So therefore, between layers or sheets, weak van der Waals forces are present. Between layers or sheets, weak van der Waals forces are present. So because weak van der Waals forces, so these sheets are sliding on each other. And so these sheets slide on each other. So these sheets are slide on each other. And because of sliding nature, so this orthoboric acid acts as a lubricant. So hence it acts as a lubricant. It is the most important application of orthoboric acid, boys. It is used as a lubricant. So between layers, between sheet and sheet, so there is yes, just like graphite. Yes, just like graphite. Yes, you are correct, Sridham. Used as lubricant. So orthoboric acid is used as a lubricant, very, very in nature. So slippery nature is there. Sliding nature means slippery nature is there. Because of that slippery nature, this is used as lubricant. Next, boys. So number of hydrogen bonds for one H3BO3 molecule is equal to, tell me boys, how many hydrogen bonds for one H3BO3 molecule or exists? Tell me. So this is one H3BO3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 hydrogen bonds, no 3, no 3, it is 6 and so this is, see here, this is one H3BO3. So this one H3BO3 is connected with 6 hydrogen bonds. Check once again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So therefore, number of hydrogen bonds for one H3BO3 molecule is 6 and number of hydrogen bonds. Okay. So this is the structure of H3BO3 molecule, boys. It is sheet-like structure, layer-like structure. Between layers, weak van der Waals forces are there. So that is why they have slippery in nature. That is why it is used as lubricant. So that is why it is used as lubricant. Next, uses. Last topic, that is uses. What are the uses of this H3BO3? Okay. So uses. So now, boys, this H3BO3 boric acid is used in our face powder. Is used in our face powders. Next, at the time of that is wounds. Okay. So that is fracture times. That means debbal tagilinapudu. So in case of children, so powder addutu untam. Powder is applied. So that means our H3BO3 has antiseptic nature. Very, very important, boys. So it has antiseptic nature. It has antiseptic nature. Next, used as lubricant. Boys, at the time of caroms gaming, so some powder is sprayed in. That powder is our orthoboric acid. So because of that, so sliding nature, caroms and striker, those coins and striker is free to move. So because of this, okay, as boric powder, boric acid. Okay, so this is the importance of orthoboric acid. Yes, because of its softness and sliding nature, everything. Okay, so that's all, boys, for today's class.